1, 2, 3, 4.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Good morning. Welcome back to day 3 of the 2021 Virginia Solar Summit. It's our last day. It's our most substantive day. You may have noticed, actually, we've gotten some questions. The smart folks, you've realized we've been building slowly all this time just to get to my favorite stuff. We've got a lot of steak and even more sizzle on the menu for today, especially this afternoon. We're going to be bringing back some of DMME's stars, the most popular presenters from the previous conference. Daniel and Nick, they're going to be anchoring our very popular, very beefy, very important and difference-making, groundbreaking Brightfield's 300 series. That's Brightfield's 300 and 301. This morning, we're going to feature a very important and timely keynote from Miss Robin Ernst. So I'm really looking forward to that today. I hope you're ready to roll your sleeves up. I hope you weren't out too late last night and didn't have too many pints, or you doubled up your coffee this morning. So on behalf of my co-hosts, Vince Maiden, Carrie Staten, and our co-host organizations, which is the Virginia Department of Mines, Mineral, and Energy, the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, Appalachian Voices, as well as the West Virginia Brownfield Assistance Center. We want to all welcome you back to, again, day 3. Vince, how you feeling today?
Well, you know, the last 2 days have been great, but really today is really what it's all about. This is going to, bring it home nicely. I am excited, as you mentioned, for our DMME superstars out of Big Stone Gap, but the rest of this agenda leading up to that, from Jonathan Sweet to this, more from Southwest Virginia Solar Work Group, and Robin leading us off. I mean, it's going to be great. So, if your friends haven't caught the last 2 days, it's not too late to send them the YouTube link that's out there for everybody. And, let's roll. Let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm feeling good today, even though I did sneak in a couple of pints. I'm mostly Irish. Got some just terrific sessions already in the books, and I hope that you didn't miss. Of course, we're live streaming on YouTube, and you can roll the stream back. We'll be chopping those out and dropping blogs over the summer. Some of our great sponsors will be contributing new content because it's really happening now, I think, as we've seen. The renaissance is real. We've done a lot of work over the last few years. We're really standing on the shoulders of giants like Calvin Ernst, who spoke yesterday with terrific pictures. Luckily, we've had good people in the right places in the right industry who have literally planted the seeds that we're going to need to really scale up solar and do this the right way and involve communities everywhere, urban and rural. And different land, all of our land subspecies. We've got really exotic stuff out there like Superfund sites, and they've been dying and begging for end use for a long time. And so with that, I really want to—
Dan, real quick before we get rolling, I would like to mention that, people are probably wondering how we pulled this off for free. Such a great conference. Go to virginiasolarsummit.com sponsors. It's too long for us to list all the people that made that happen. We have a great list of sponsors. You can scroll through on there sometime today, and feel free to give out your shout outs in the chat to the sponsors and thank them. But I think we would be amiss, if we missed that this morning, we would be doing a self injustice. So don't mean to hold up Robin, because this is going to be great, but just want to mention that.
No, that's exactly where I wanted to go. I had just a minute left, but thank you, Vince. I want to send some beautiful, beautiful, brilliant Brightfield love to especially our 3 terawatt sponsors, Dominion Energy, BQE, and Meadville Land Service. So with that, Monarch
Vegetation Services, Inc.
Thank you, Vince.
Rooted in success.
Thank you. I was on my notes and I went away, so I apologize for that. But with that, she can introduce herself, and no one knows this stuff better than she does. I want to bring into the conversation Miss Robin Ernst. She is the president of Pollinators, the Queen Bee. Robin, can you hit the mute button for us on your side? Or is it on our side? There you go. Welcome, Robin. Good morning.
Thank you, Dan, Vince. Thank you very much for the, good pump up there. I want to tell everybody good morning, and I truly hope this day finds you well. I have beside me actually Randy Grout. He's a project manager, and he will help assist with questions. I'm just going to do a brief introduction to the Monarch Vegetation Services, formerly known as Ernst Pollinator Service. And you mentioned Meadville Land Service, and that's okay because Monarch Vegetation Services is backed by Meadville Land Service Incorporated. Meadville Land Service Incorporated is well known in the East Coast region for 22 years, performing large native seedings and planting projects. We do heavy construction in streams and wetlands. Meadville Land Service Incorporated believes in restoring balance to the earth. Now, I'm going to just give a brief introduction to more of our Monarch Vegetation Services Incorporated company, and then we're going to move into what is really this topic that I'd like to come to is about. Our team has over 30 years of vegetation and stabilization experience. We install native and naturalized vegetation for environmental benefits and soil stabilization. We have designed a specialized equipment and own equipment used in this line of work. Establishing natives that thrive and benefit our earth is our passion of ours, especially mine. I'm the proud daughter of Calvin Ernst, who operates, along with my brothers, the largest East Coast native seed production. My knowledge of establishing natives took me to many sites prior to starting Meadville Land Service Incorporated. I worked for Ernst Seed by instructing contractors on how to install natives. My understanding of practical applications, along with the urgency to have erosion control, has made us very successful on thousands of acres. Monarch Vegetation is rooted in success. We all have seen this slide earlier brought up, and I don't want to spend much time on it. It just does go back to the benefits of what pollinators or native species can do for your site. Obviously, increased pollination to nearby crops, healthy foraging habitat for the bees and butterflies, superior on-site water management, reduce soil erosion, less maintenance, less mowing, builds healthy topsoil for future land uses. And we're going to talk about that again. Greater resistance to weeds and increases soil organic matter. I want to spend our time on what Monarch Vegetation Services know is an important information to help you get your project successful. My concern is when we turn to turf grass, which has no benefits for our environment, it's because it's easy and it's what we've always known. So I go to the word, not so much native vegetation, but I go to beneficial vegetation. Beneficial, something that produces a positive or helpful result or effects, or that promotes well-being, vegetation, plant life. What we need to get to when we start this process of establishing our solar site, the following partners need to have an end goal. We all have to start out with some type of goal. That includes the landowner and what they're wanting for their land, the local permitting authorities, developer, and the end user. Partners, what is the long-term goal for your site? Is it grazing, pollinator habitat? What beneficial vegetation do you want? Now we need to convey that to the engineers. What do the engineers need to know? They need to know from you, what is your end vision? Grazing, pollinators, naturalized ground cover? They need to know these following questions and have them answered prior to doing this for you. What is existing vegetation on site? Do we need to control invasives prior to installation? What are the soil conditions on site? Will it change upon grading? What will final slopes and grade be on site? Does vegetation goals differ in array versus out of array? Array design, very important for us to know and the engineer as mixes are being developed along with a soil erosion control plan. Are they trackers? Are they fixed tilt? Do they have a ballast block? Are there above ground utilities? These have to be taken in consideration for the time that it will take to install. What is the lowest height of the panels? Extremely important, which leads you then to what is the maintenance plan? I want you to know that a maintenance plan for native vegetation can actually be associated with cost savings. So some more things to go on to what would be helpful for the engineers along with the conservation districts and state authorities to look at in putting the plan together in the beginning is talking about cover crops needed to be included for the temporary seeding and the permanent seeding. Cover crops that will not overtake or cause competition for beneficial vegetation, and otherwise not using annual ryegrass or Bermuda grass to establish temporary cover. Base the seed mix on the following. Talk to your people like Ernst Seed, Roundstone, Cardno. Talk about diversity. Talk about function. Big one, talk about availabilities and proper seeding rates. Again, what will be the panel heights of these, the height of these plants in amongst your panels? Some of the native vegetation requires longer establishment periods. We all know that, and it's a concern in getting the site permitted or off permit. Now, what we need to know is once we have the landowner telling or the developer saying to the engineer, we want to do this type of vegetation, the great thing is these engineers then know how to design the stormwater plan or erosion control plan to work with this beneficial vegetation. Consider the installation of permanent seeding during the appropriate time compared to the construction timeline. And we're going to talk more about these cover crops. Consider, how does my client close the permit for state and county authorities? Here, in another slide, I'm going to be asking for your help. Encourage developers to have EPCs purchase the seed ahead of time and have it stored properly. This equals avoidance of interruption with substitutions of plant material. Many times we will do a submittal of what the seed mix is, but if the trigger is not pulled to buy that seed, we then start seeing it being sold to other people. Therefore, we have to make substitutions, which has to go through many hands to get approved. We can stop this by purchasing the seed ahead. This is the slide that I'm asking for your help. Virginia, through the Virginia Pollinator Smart Program, is leading a role in understanding that natives are beneficial. How do we help? And again, I'm asking for everybody's help out there. How do we help retrain state and counties who are issuing permits about this slower establishing beneficial vegetation that will supply and support sustainable growth? We are understanding some developers are wanting to successfully close their permits with specific native or naturalized vegetation, but old manuals being used call for a certain percentage, typically 90%. Natives grow in a clump form. They are not sod forming. Therefore, there is a percentage of ground that is not covered. One good thing is this ground not covered can provide actually great area for ground nesting bees. When we look at the overall watershed coming across the area, deeper roots will filtrate more than turf. Again, these are things I'd like to be able to go to the conservation districts and the state authorities so that they understand that it is not going to be green in less than 3 days, or it is not going to be a complete sod within a week. With the understanding that temporary crops and a well-designed erosion control measures must be used in your permanent establishment, beneficial vegetation can be successful. Here's my thoughts. The land that is being leased for the solar farm can have a whole approach of sustainability, provide future land later for food crops. Again, I spoke earlier about how the natives with their deeper root system can help build that soil. In time, why the site is being leased and has beneficial habitat, it's providing habitat for lost species. These lost species help produce food. When this gets taken out 25 years later, possibly, or returned over, we have quality land that we can go back to farm and have food. And we built the population up in the pollinators. 1 out of every 3 bites of food you eat in a day is a direct result of a pollinator. And I know Renee Hypes actually spoke about that also too, and I thank her. Electrical prime contractors. I don't know if we have these type of folks online, but this is a really important statement that will help you, because we're all worried sometimes about the violations that can happen while we're on site, stabilization, because we have those folks that come out and inspect, and we need to own up to what we said we would do. Here's some easy tasks. Cover crops. A great way to keep your site in compliance is the use of temporary cover crops. You'll see the list below. Cover crops can be used prior to installation of permanent seed. This can be done daily. Our thought process is you expose it and you seed it with proper cover crops. As we work in even the stream restoration business, we are constantly calling what we do is button up every day for that unexpected storm that could be coming in a couple of days. Inexpensive tasks can lead to these big benefits. At 28 cents a pound, referring to the grain rye, times an average of 30 pounds per acre is $8.40 an acre of cost, plus the labor. This provides erosion control and helps suppress invasives. On the right-hand side, you'll see a four-wheeler spreading seed. This is all that is needed, done in a safe way. You can be doing this every day. Have one of the people doing this every day to button up the site. And in 2 or 3 days, you probably could have germination. You think that, well, we're going to run it over. Okay, that's okay. But in the meanwhile, we're at least trying to stabilize. How many of us have seen water coming off these sites that is dark and then going into our streams? A couple of seeds a day keeps the violations away. That's my thought process. Electrical prime contractors. When you're looking at hiring somebody to come in and do the stabilization for permanent seed, look at these following things. 1, again, agree to procure seed material as early as possible. Verify the seeding contractor is qualified specifically in your area. I don't want to go to the Midwest or the West Coast to seed. I don't know those soils, but I know Eastern soils. Do they have the proper installation techniques for the specific beneficial vegetation you're wanting? Not just a typical hydro seeding, not just a typical broadcasting, possibly a drill seeder, possibly areas in which the soil has to be scarified to create a good seed soil contact. Have they performed prior projects? Again, are they familiar with the soil conditions? Does that seeding contractor have that proper equipment and the manpower? Also, consider installation of permanent seeding during the appropriate seeding time compared to the construction timeline. Going back to possibly using these cover crops, but the proper cover crops so that we're not causing competition for this future beneficial vegetation. This one is a kind of a blunt statement. I know a lot have been concerned about, well, fescue is cheaper, or ryegrass or Bermuda grass, compared to natives, and we want to just stick with that. And again, we've talked earlier about it not being beneficial. I'm not going to go down through every procedure, but what I did was I went to the Virginia Erosion Control Handbook, and I looked at the specific items that are called out for permanent vegetation. On the left, you can see the different things that need to be done to get yourself established. The big one is the $1,400 per acre of mulch. Here in the East Coast areas, mulch is very important for stabilization. Again, though, cover crops being spread earlier can help to limit that mulch. That cost is around $3,540 an acre. We go to natives and naturalized. Big difference can be in the seed. That seed, though, can vary up and down. We've seen seed mixes go higher than this based upon different scorecards. We've seen mixes go lower than this and still provide beneficial vegetation. Lime is not typically needed with natives nor fertilizer. So that cost is taken out. Again, though, same cost is going back to the mulch. And I believe, I can't see it right now, but that price is, sorry, $2,550. It's a $1,000 difference. Again, a lot of things can be avoided if the prime contractor on site is simply just broadcasting these cover crops to help stabilize the site before we get there, and not need to hire somebody to come in to stabilize the site and charge mobilizations because only certain amounts are opened up every day. These are things that we do have to get down to brass tacks on and understand that the developers and the prime contractors can't afford to do that, but this you can afford to do. My things lead to this, and this comes from what we're seeing come across our desks as drawings, specifications, requests from developers, requests from engineers, requests from counties. Solar. Yes, it's coming. It's here. We got to have erosion control. Why can't we have beneficial vegetation? And let's all get on the same page to do that. Again, if we go back and we educate folks on and retrain folks on understanding that the vegetation that we plant that may take a little bit more time to establish, oh my goodness, the benefits that it provides for the future is unbelievable. We've talked about this. That's 101. So I want to thank everybody for having us. And this is an extreme passion of mine. And my group sitting beside me is afraid if I get off on a tangent, they'll have to kick me. But I just want to see something done. I want to see it done. Instead of talking about it, let's do it and get everybody to understand what it takes to get it done. So awesome. I guess with that, Dan, I'm on to questions.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Really important stuff. And I want to remind everybody, we're going to make Robin's presentation available afterwards. You'll be able to find her, but jot her contact information down now, because she's already kind of in the bottleneck as she described. And we got to get it right. Pollinators is one of our 2 feature issues this year, and I couldn't think of a better way to really button up everything that has come before, kind of at that 101 level. We've seen kind of the opportunities, but you giving us these hard numbers, getting down to the brass brightfield techs, as you mentioned, and getting real about beneficial vegetation, I think is really important stuff. We're going to kind of steal a minute of time from the next block, just to take just a couple extra moments with you, because it is so important. And you've been doing this. So in 1998, you created Meadville Land Services.
Correct. It's been in operation for 22 years, and we started off by doing vegetation again, because from Ernst, walked a lot of contractors through the sites, explain how to install 15 pounds of seed compared to 100-pound, 250-pound bags of seed. Was a lot different for contractors, and then how to make sure that there was good seed to soil contact.
Right. Yeah, the innovation that you and your whole family, it's interesting to see a modern example in that kind of classic American tradition of just adding and growing, and for you guys literally growing. So now it's Monarch Vegetation Services, and you've done over 10,000 acres of native seed on solar projects and brownfields and capped landfills.
Well, no, not on solar
not total. But that's your global number. I was going down the commas there: floodplains, wetlands, riparian areas. So you guys done a lot of this stuff on all the different types of land uses that our folks are likely to encounter.
Oh, brownfields and landfills. That's what we started off majorly with, is doing a lot of those large sites, and helping to take that and already 20 years ago converting it to native species that provide wildlife habitat.
Yeah, and so tell us. One of the most favorite things for our team, and it's kind of just Ernst General, is Buzz and fuzz. Can you tell us specifically about buzz and fuzz? We just love the way it sounds, but talk to us about what's in the bag.
Is it fuzz and buzz actually was a mixture. No, that's okay. We're going to tell it. That was developed with Randy Grout, Lexi Haynes, and Cornell University and Ernst Seed to establish a grazing plot for sheep on site, quick establishment, and possible percentage of pollinators that can be there.
So you think we had a specific session on sheep yesterday, and a question came up: can bees, butterflies, and sheep kind of coexist? And you think that
we do have concern about the fact that we talked about that a lot. I did hear that question yesterday, and I would have to say I definitely think that there's a 20% of that can develop to the pollinators, but 80% of it definitely is going to more of the grazing side and providing that value. But these are all still good goals. If we add just even a little bit more every day, I believe somebody said if we add a half an acre of pollinators to our areas, what a big difference just a half acre can make. We did 400 acres of fuzz and buzz on a site recently. So now 400 times 20%, 80 acres. 80 acres we're hoping provides for that pollinators, and it will be grazed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just so real. And, it's a conference for nerds and nuts and bolts. And for us, I think, we've been doing it for so long. I've been smashing my head against the brownfield wall for almost 20 years. And, but I've had some of my family tune in, and some newbies have reached out to some of the feedback, and it does sound like unicorns and pixie dust, but with buzz and fuzz, I mean, it's real, it's in the bag, and we can really stack sustainability on top of even our most degraded lands and put these beautiful habitats on top. Robin, I want to thank you for the bonus time today. I want to thank you for helping to blaze the trail, for being an innovator, following in your father's footsteps. I'm so glad that you guys have done this work because we're finding out right now just how much we're going to need it to lean into this opportunity, this moment, and get this land rush, this great American land rush, the redevelopment land rush, done the right way, not just for our people and our economy, but for Mother Earth and all of her species. So thank you. Thank you very much, Robin.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.